Internet mysteries often rely on disturbing footage or hidden codes, but the most unsettling anomalies begin with a simple, persistent lack of logic. In 2011, a YouTube channel called Aviloop appeared. On the surface, it presented as a standard aviation startup, offering professional flight services. The channel was remarkably obscure. There were no viral hits, no media coverage, and virtually no audience for the few short clips that sat unnoticed for years. A casual viewer would likely watch 5 seconds and keep scrolling without a second thought. Despite that normalcy, those 4 videos eventually became the focus of a multi-year investigation involving thousands of people. Professional aviation marketing typically centers on the mechanics of flight, pilots, heavy machinery, or the logistics of luxury travel. Aviloop's videos ignored the aircraft. Instead, the camera remained fixed on the women presenting the content. These women didn't wear modern flight uniforms. Their outfits and presentation style aligned more closely with promotional modeling than with airline professionalism. The scripts followed this trend. They were written to emphasize the women themselves, repeatedly instructing viewers to visit the site to interact with the presenters, rather than to book a flight.
Welcome to Aviloop, your collective buying website for anything aviation. We offer deals on flight lessons, pilot accessories, fuel, FBO services, charter flights, and even small aircraft. Our deals are usually 50 to 90% off. That means whether you want to learn to fly, charter an airplane, or to see more girls like me, Aviloop can help.
The mystery didn't come from the pitch itself, but from what investigators found when they began looking past the professional presentation and into the cracks of the channel's digital footprint. Discussion moved from the YouTube comment sections to dedicated forums, where viewers began treating the videos like forensic evidence rather than advertisements. The first major anomaly researchers pointed to was the audio. They claimed that buried beneath the promotional dialogue were sounds that didn't belong in a corporate video. By isolating the background frequencies, users identified what sounded like low moaning and faint voices whispering the word help.
That means whether you want to learn to fly, charter an airplane, or to see more girls like me.
This chart shows the unavoidable costs of private aviation. Fuel, maintenance, and pilot training create a massive financial baseline that any legitimate company must cover. Aviloop claimed to circumvent these costs entirely, offering inexplicable discounts of 70 or even 90% on their services. Researchers moved past the YouTube channel to audit the company's corporate website, looking for any evidence of a real operation. While the landing page appeared professional, the site architecture was a ghost town. Dozens of pages were abandoned, filled with inactive links and empty content blocks. Buried within these broken pages was a recurring technical error. The investigation moved away from creepy audio theories and toward a technical audit of Aviloop as a business entity. At first glance, the Aviloop website mirrored the videos. It was a sleek portal offering consulting, business aviation solutions, and private aircraft support. However, the structural reality of the site was different. Service portals were inactive, and the deeper pages were filled with broken links and placeholder text. A specific technical error appeared across the site's metadata. Multiple document timestamps repeatedly pointed back to the same date, December 31st, 1969. This Unix epoch is the starting point for most computer clocks. Without a valid timestamp, the system defaults to 0, registering as the final moments of 1969. Beyond the coding errors, the physical business was missing. Public records showed no registered aircraft, no flight logs, and no hangars tied to Aviloop. Instead of aviation logistics, researchers found that individuals connected to the project were actually selling personalized video interactions, Skype calls, and paid conversation services. The professional branding functioned as an outer shell for a business model focused on private communications. After years of debate over whether Aviloop was a failed startup or a marketing experiment, researchers finally secured the company's corporate records. The focus shifted from an abstract shell company to the specific individual legally responsible for the operation. That individual was Nadia Marcinko. This name provides the final, concrete link between an abandoned YouTube channel and one of the most controversial criminal scandals of the modern era. The identity behind Aviloop connects the channel to a major international legal case. The mystery of the 4 flight attendants wasn't a standalone puzzle. It was a small piece of a much larger, real-world scandal. Years later, the mystery took a professional turn. The strange, glitchy aesthetic vanished, replaced by a polished homepage offering private aviation services. But when investigators checked back years later, the site had changed. The glitchy pages were gone. In their place was a professional corporate storefront for a legitimate aviation company. If you scrolled to the very bottom of that new corporate homepage, the company openly identified its founder, Nadia Marcinko. To most, the name meant nothing, but to those tracking high-profile criminal cases, finding that name attached to an aviation business changed everything about the inquiry. Grounded, Nadia Marcinko was directly linked to one of the most notorious criminal figures of the 21st century, Jeffrey Epstein. This discovery moved the investigation away from the world of internet speculation and into the recorded history of a major criminal network. To understand the implications, you have to look at the scale of Epstein's operations. He spent years cultivating a social network that included powerful politicians, business executives, and global celebrities. Photographs over the years captured him alongside some of the most influential figures on Earth, including future US President Donald Trump. His reach extended through different political eras, including ties with Bill Clinton and various international leaders. That influence reached even the British royal family, most notably through his connection with Prince Andrew. Maintaining this operation required a massive physical infrastructure, including luxury properties and a private island designed to keep his activities hidden. Logistically, his network relied on a dedicated aviation fleet. These private jets were tools used to move individuals across borders outside standard travel channels. Because private aircraft were essential to his movements, any aviation company linked to his inner circle becomes a subject of intense suspicion. Publicly, Nadia Marcinko was known as a successful pilot. She had been a young model who transitioned into aviation, earning her commercial license at an age that attracted significant media attention. However, investigative reporters unearthing court records found her name throughout various legal filings, placing her inside Epstein's operational network. Public flight logs provided further evidence, showing her actively flying aircraft associated with his fleet. This evidence has led to two conflicting narratives. One argues she entered Epstein's world as a teenager, becoming a victim of his systemic grooming. The other narrative, based on the length of her involvement, alleges that she eventually took on an active role in managing his aviation logistics. Regardless of her exact role, the verified connection forces us to look at Aviloop through a different lens, not as a simple business, but as a potential tool for the network. Some reports describe her as a young victim pulled into a predatory environment, while others focus on her later, deep involvement in his operations. Flight logs and court documents show she maintained regular contact with him, visiting him multiple times while he faced serious legal troubles. Online researchers have spent years developing the theory that Aviloop served a covert purpose rather than a commercial one. They point to leaked emails where mundane terminology is suspected of carrying hidden meanings, though no court has confirmed these interpretations. In 2019, the situation escalated when Epstein was arrested on new federal charges. Shortly after, he was found dead in his cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center, a development that sparked worldwide debate. The timeline of Aviloop's rebranding snaps into alignment with these events. As the Epstein case dominated global headlines, the company's digital presence was being scrubbed and professionalized. This chronological overlap raises a difficult question. We must decide if this was a routine update that happened to coincide with a scandal, or a deliberate effort to distance the company from a criminal investigation. In 2024, the release of thousands of pages of Epstein-related court documents brought the story back to the headlines. This new wave of information has brought the name Nadia Marcinko and the mystery of Aviloop back into the public eye. But despite years of document leaks, relentless internet sleuthing, and investigative reporting, no definitive proof has emerged to clarify the company's true nature. How much of the internet's speculation is accurate? How much is simply theory? And perhaps most importantly, did investigators uncover the full story, or only a small piece of something much larger? The challenge of the modern information age is that the lines between a routine business pivot and a cover-up for a criminal network are often invisible. In this case, the truth may still be hiding in plain sight. Aviloop was back in the spotlight. Journalists and sleuths tore through massive document dumps, looking for any evidence that might explain the company's true purpose. The release of those files didn't settle the timeline. Instead, the records introduced contradictory details that only added to the existing questions about what was actually happening behind the scenes. The investigation followed a path from 4 bizarre videos to a global scandal. But without a final piece of evidence to bridge the gap, the mystery of Aviloop remains exactly where it started, unsolved.